Hey guys, this is Charlotte, and you're watching Going In Raw.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Lars.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, and of course, taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. Quick reminder, today at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, we will be filming this week's bonus episode, Power Rank, for Friendo Club TV members. Today we're going to take a look at the WWE draft. Larson's going to come up with 5 moves that need to happen in the WWE draft, and so am I. 5 + 5 = 10, assuming that we don't overlap, which we sometimes do.
Your math is sound.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and we do it every single Tuesday, and then, of course, Thursday, the numbers don't lie. We're looking at Stone Cold Steve Austin at $5 and up on the Patreon at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. You can get access to that show also in the audio realm, and you can get Going In Raw ad-free in the audio realm starting at $5 a month on Patreon. You can also get it for $3 a month without the bonus content, just the show ad-free at goinginraw.supercast.tech. If that's something you want to do. So that should be fun. Should be a fun episode of Power Rank today, and I'm looking forward to that Stone Cold episode of The Numbers Don't Lie.
That should be fun.
We're going to get into a review of Monday Night Raw, which is a pretty decent episode last night.
It's pretty good.
But first, let's talk about the news, Larson.
Yeah, we got some news. So we got the draft, WWE draft starting on Friday on SmackDown. So we got some news about that. You know, given all the recent changes to NXT, there was some speculation about what the future may have in store for some NXT veterans. Are they getting called up? Who knows? So according to Andrew Zarian and Dave Meltzer, it seems that we're going to get some call-ups during the WWE draft. This is what Zarian had to say today, quote, hearing that NXT will be involved in the draft, expect a few call-ups. And during the latest Wrestling Observer Radio, Meltzer mentioned that, quote, right now NXT is there's supposed to be people drafted from NXT to freshen up both brands. The person who told me that also said this can also change completely tomorrow, but they're under the impression there will be many people from NXT, and the NXT guys are supposed to be a significant part of it. Meltzer also added that, quote, the key talent that will be moving or staying with either Raw or SmackDown this week's draft have been decided, and both USA Network and Fox know a few things about those key names as well. They're keeping the networks informed about the moves they're making. Finally,
probably a smart move.
Yes,
probably a smart move.
It's a really good idea. Finally, John Alba tweeted out today one potential group that may be going to the main roster is what he had to say. Quote, Hit Row is one of the names being discussed for a main roster call-up from NXT for the WWE draft. I'm told whether it ultimately gets the call will remain to be seen. However, obviously, but Andrew Zarian reports NXT will be involved in the draft.
I love that. Hit Row, absolutely. Get them out of NXT 2.0, put them out there in front of a huge audience, and I think they're fantastic. I still think that it's so early in their lifespan that they have such a high ceiling, they have such potential, and man, I think that's awesome. Let's get them to main roster ASAP.
Agreed. So there's a lot of veteran acts. Again, it depends on how fast and how hard they want to go on NXT 2.0. Like, do they kind of want to keep some of the veterans around to help the younger talents, develop? I mean, obviously, Ciampa's going to be there for a while. He's the champion. I don't think he's going to be champion for long. Certainly, he's going to have like a year-long reign. But like people that were obviously outside the title picture, who don't exactly fit what NXT 2.0 is, I would think have a very good chance of getting called up and getting drafted either Friday or Monday. But as far as the number, I don't know. Is it going to be 5? Is it going to be 2? Could be 10.
I feel like they honestly should do, like, given that there's only so much room in the draft, what they should do is just have one spot and it's like a whole bundle. It's the NXT 1.0 bundle. You get Hit Row, you get Ciampa, you get Kushida,
you get Legado.
You get Kyle O'Reilly, Legado. Yeah, you just get NXT 1.0. I don't know. I'm looking at a preview for tonight's episode of 2.0. Raquel Gonzalez putting her women's title up against Frankie Monet. Would not shock me if Raquel lost this due to shenanigans from the rest of whatever they're calling Frankie Monet's
or even
group.
Dakota Kai comes out and costs her the title. That could still happen.
It's a possibility. Raquel Gonzalez ends up going into the draft. I don't see how anybody wouldn't want her. She's an attraction. She's also a damn good wrestler.
Yes.
Diamond Mine is clearly going to stay.
Mm-hmm.
Roderick Strong is probably going to it would not shock me if Roderick Strong was sort of like a player coach type, you know?
Yeah. And you'd think that Kushida is a good chance Kushida would get called up then.
Kushida, Kyle O'Reilly, those are two names that I could see. And then, you know, they'll both sort of languish a little bit before they get like rebrands of some sort, which may or may not be good. LA Knight, obviously, is like basically main roster material already. Yeah. He has been since he came to NXT. I'm looking at these other names here. I mean, Io Shirai and Zoe Stark have those tag titles. I feel like they probably want to generate some buzz by just putting those tag titles on Toxic Attraction. Wouldn't shock me. The Io Zoe Stark thing has been mishandled from the get-go. They should be a wrecking machine of a tag team, and they're focusing on this silly comedy of Zoe Stark wanting to be liked by Io Shirai. It was stupid from the get-go. So I could see that. Yeah, I mean, dude, honestly, there are a ton of names. Mm-hmm. There are a ton of names.
Even grizzled young veterans. There's a lot of names.
Oh, they should go to main roster
MSK.
For sure. Absolutely.
They could go to main too.
Yeah. There's a lot of names. Ciampa, I don't know about Ciampa. I mean, yeah, clearly, obviously, he's the NXT champion, but they could do so. I would not put it past them to do weird stuff where they draft the NXT champion to Raw or whatever, and then, you know, maybe next week or the week after he drops it to the man, Braun Breaker.
Again, just depends how fast they want to go all in on NXT 2.0.
Dude, the evidence is clear. Full speed ahead, 88 miles an hour, man.
It seems like it. It seems
88 miles an hour.
You got to think they might want to keep some player coaches around to help these younger talents develop.
Hopefully it means just more moving parts on main roster, you know? It's like, I like long matches. I thought Raw last night was really fun, man.
Yeah, it was a fun show.
10 matches by the count of somebody here in chat. I didn't actually do that count myself, but I thought it was killer. I thought it focused on wrestling. There was only after 1 week of literally no interviews, there were just a small handful of interviews this week. And I thought it was a good episode, but more than anything, I just like when and I think that's why the last 2 weeks of Raw has been good, because things are just moving. They move along.
Well, you can make the argument that more happened on Raw last night than Extreme Rules.
That argument is not difficult to make. That is totally. I enjoyed Raw last night more than Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
And you know,
there was at least 2 matches on Raw that could have conceivably happened on the pay-per-view. The cage match between Big E and Lashley, and then of course the U.S. title match, no DQ between Sheamus and Damian Priest. Both great. But I guess WWE kind of has to do this balancing act now, where it's a pay-per-view, so there's expectations for a pay-per-view in terms of matches and carrying or culminating storylines, but also they want to try to get the ratings up for Raw, keep their network partners happy by making Raw at least equal to or better than SmackDown, and same thing for SmackDown. So they got to keep some quality pay-per-view quality matches in their back pocket to have on Raw on occasion. It seemed like this week Extreme Rules suffered a bit, so they could improve the fortunes of Raw.
Yeah, it also suffered a bit from just sort of placement. Like that Finn Balor stuff was stupid.
Yeah, it was.
It was a whatever show. But we were saying the whole time, it felt like there were some good matches. But yeah, like why would they wouldn't have had Priest versus Sheamus at Extreme Rules, given just how hardcore that match was? I'm not going to complain because it was a great match, and at the pay-per-view we got to see Jeff Hardy, and it was still a fun match. But this match clearly was way better, much more extreme. I think it was Alfred Konuwa on Twitter who called it the hot shot era, where WWE is just going to be going all out trying to please Fox and USA. And I'll be honest with you, I'm cool with that because we get stuff like, and somebody in our chat called yesterday said, is the WWE title match going to bookend the episode? And sure enough, that's what had happened. And Pierce comes out there and he's talking like Vince. And he says, no, it's not going to end this way. Steel cage. And so we got a really killer Big E versus Lashley to start the show, and an even more killer Big E Lashley to end the show. And it's like they're throwing everything, great matches. And after that, Drew McIntyre comes out. It's like, holy crap. Now that's even elevated. The draft is about to happen, so we're going to have some pretty cool names challenging Roman Reigns, be it Drew McIntyre or Bobby Lashley. Maybe both.
Yeah.
So they're hot-shotting stuff, so to speak. But I don't know. I kind of feel like it's more just, hey, throw a bunch of cool shit out there because you have a bunch of cool shit to throw out there. You know?
Yeah.
So I think that's one reason why Raw's been good the last couple of weeks. They focus on wrestling. They're focusing on giving us stuff that we've wanted to see for a while.
Yeah.
Shayna Baszler wrecking fools is something that we have wanted to see since her call up to the main roster.
Yeah, and but I'll say this: given what she's done the months prior to her going back to wrecking people, like there's added dimension to her character now. Her interview last night, where she's asked, "How do you feel about the injuries that Nia suffered because of you?" And you could tell she didn't know exactly how to deal with it yet. Whereas if she had just come out one-dimensional wrecking Shayna, her wrecking people is great, but I like the added dimension now, where she does these things, and after the fact, she's kind of, I'm not sure how I really feel about it.
I'm glad you brought that up. I mentioned this in the pre-show, the interview segments that they had. One of them was for the .com. One of them was with Shayna. And she was asked again, hey, it was the post beatdown for Eva Marie. She says, what's going on here? And Shayna says, and it was, her performance was great. And this is like not even on TV. Maybe they'll air it next week. She said, in this business, making friends isn't easy. And Nia was my only friend in the locker room. But sometimes in this business, you have to do stuff that you don't like. I didn't like that last week. This week, I loved it. And it made me feel what I wanted to chase in this business again. And I want to keep chasing that feeling.
See, that's good
and
stuff.
It was good. Yeah, it's really good stuff. I like that. We got AJ Styles versus Matt Riddle for like the 18th time. But guess what? They put together these great matches that I'm fine watching those matches over and over again as long as they're bringing something new. It was like last week when it was AJ versus Randy Orton, and they've done it so many times, and they're referencing that stuff, and they both catch each other trying to counter each other, and we got you. It's as long as, even if there are rematches, if the rematches are telling stories that are progressing from the previous matches, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I don't mind that either. It's just the practice having the same match just to have the same match, where they confuse story advancement with doing the same thing,
Yeah.
If they have a rematch and there's progression, as you mentioned, there's story advancement, great. But if they're having a rematch just to have a rematch and the outcome's been the same, like 5 straight
and it's
matches.
The same. I can't stand that stuff.
Then there's no point to it. There's no
point to it. And I feel like
it
was like 12 months of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, we're just doing this again.
But now seemingly they're paying attention to the details, or whether it's creative or, in this case, AJ and Riddle last week, AJ and Orton, they're paying attention to the details and making sure, we have this match. Let's just not do, a rinse and repeat of what we did last time. Let's reference what we did last time. And how, based on the numerous matches we've obviously had together, we're learning more about our opponent and adjusting strategy accordingly. That's storytelling, Let's take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Several years ago, while dealing with severe anxiety, I learned the importance of talking to a therapist, but also discovered that it can be extremely difficult to find the right person to talk to. Today, BetterHelp is providing a safe and private online environment where your needs will be assessed and you'll be matched with your own licensed personal therapist.
BetterHelp isn't a crisis line, nor is it self-help. It's professional counseling done securely online, all without having to ever sit in another uncomfortable waiting room.
BetterHelp is dedicated to facilitating great therapeutic matches. Send your counselor messages at any time or schedule regular phone or video sessions. They made it free and easy to change therapists if needed.
And you don't have to limit yourself to counselors in your area. BetterHelp services are available worldwide, so you can find the expertise you need regardless of location.
We want you to start living a happier life today. As a Going In Raw listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/raw. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health.
Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
Before we get back to the show, let's get a word from our sponsor, DoorDash. You know, Steve, I found myself ordering with DoorDash a lot recently, like more than twice a month. Sometimes it felt like I was paying just as much in delivery fees as I was for the actual meals. But then I signed up for Dash Pass, and now I'm saving money on the food I'm already eating.
Yeah, I was once there with you, friendo, but now that I got Dash Pass, I get unlimited $0 delivery fees from thousands of restaurants, grocery stores, and convenience stores, saving me about $4 to $5 on each order I place. Dash Pass pretty much pays for itself if I order like twice a month.
And with 18,000 restaurants eligible for Dash Pass, maybe we'll even find a new favorite place to eat. But Dash Pass is about more than good eats. You can get flowers, pet supplies, even groceries delivered right to your door. So try a free month of Dash Pass now and watch those savings add up.
So if you're ready to save money on your DoorDash orders, DoorDash is offering a free month of Dash Pass right now. Stop spending money on delivery fees. Try Dash Pass from DoorDash today for free.
When you've got $0 delivery fees, you're free to get more because you can. Start your free month today.
Let's talk a little bit about Big E and Bobby Lashley.
All right.
They kicked off the show, the return to the Hurt Business. Cedric and Shelton came back. That brought the New Day out. And so the match ended up sort of being a DQ finish. Pierce comes out, says, hey, steel cage to finish the show for the main event. We got that killer match, just an absolutely killer match. Big E won with a big ending from the second rope. Lashley had kicked out of one. Big E had kicked out of a spear. So that's the kind of, that's like pay-per-view level stuff there, where both men really do look strong. It took a second rope big ending, the second big ending for Bob Lashley. But this is the kind of thing that's going to define Big E's title run as either a success or not. Can he rack up the wins against opponents like Bobby Lashley that have been the man? Next week, if Drew McIntyre gets drafted on Monday after, or if he's heading to SmackDown, either he gets drafted before and they still have the match, and then you have a conundrum. Oh, if he wins, which obviously he's not. But I like that kind of drama where it's like, oh, maybe he'll get drafted on Monday, and then he'll still have the main event match. Okay, well, I might walk into SmackDown as the WWE champion now, or do I stay here on Raw like Big E did because he came over to Raw? Or he stays on Raw, and this is an elongated feud. I kind of feel like he's heading to SmackDown, and this is just another big name, former champion, to make Big E look better.
Totally.
I feel like that's the case. What are your thoughts on that?
No, totally, 1,000%. You know, if you want to establish Big E as champ, then he's got to start facing all the main event names on Raw and beating them definitively. You know, this is the third time he's pinned Bob Lashley. And I think probably that's that between the two of them. I would not be surprised if Lashley and the rest of Hurt Business get drafted to SmackDown, because think about it, Hurt Business versus Bloodline, that's great stuff.
Oh, that's good stuff. That's great stuff.
That's right there. They kind of set that up a couple weeks ago when Roman was on Raw. It's right there, waiting for them to tell that story. I'd be surprised it didn't happen. But yeah, I thought last night both matches were really good. Great performance from both of them. Even in defeat, Bob Lashley looks strong. It took quite a bit for Big E to ultimately defeat Bob Lashley. Bob Lashley, like beginning of both matches, was pretty much destroying Big E early on. And then it shows Big E's heart coming back from all that and still getting that win.
All the crowing about Big E still being Big E, his personality, et cetera, all that goes away for me when he's in there and they do the thing where Lashley, this is in the cage, when Lashley's got him in the corner at the beginning of the match, and the ref has him back up, and he backs up, and Big E's jawing at him, and then he slaps the shit out of Lashley. Lashley snaps, and he starts going after him. But that Big E really taking it to him and showing the attitude. It's not, oh, look at this new attitude. It's just he understands that he's got to get violent now that he is a singles guy. He's the champion. He's in there with a big dude like Bobby Lashley. If you don't show him, if you don't establish your dominance early, with slapping him like that, saying, "Hey, I'm going to take it to you, and I'm disrespecting you right now."
I mean, that might be the third time he's done that, because you talk about the cage match where he did that, right? Because he did that when he cashed in. He did that at the opening of the match last night, the first one, and then during the cage match. So yeah, he's not afraid to get in Lashley's face.
I love it. I think it's absolutely great. Yeah, that was really good stuff. Let's see here. What else stood out? Of course, this clearly was a blow-off. Priest versus Sheamus. Wouldn't shock me. One of two things. Priest and Nakamura could switch spots. The mid-card titles could both switch brands. Or Sheamus could just be heading over to SmackDown.
I feel like it'd be smart for them to keep Sheamus on Raw. We've seen Sheamus and Big E have good matches in the feud before.
They have a history,
yeah, of really physical matches over on SmackDown. We've seen that. I think it'd be a good idea to keep Sheamus on Raw to eventually feud against Big E to help build Big E's title reign up. I think that'd be a smart idea.
Any chance? I mean, it's possible certainly for both these guys to stay on Raw as well. I mean, this is just could be a blow-off match. Although I wonder if they'd put Boogs and Nakamura over on Raw. I don't know. You don't really need to do that, I guess. But I feel like Nakamura's been there for a while. There definitely needs to be a shakeup there in the mid card with some people going.
Yes,
over.
I would be surprised if Apollo Crews stays on SmackDown, for example.
That match was killer, though. It was a fun match. It was a fun match. Yeah,
fun match.
And then, of course, in our thumbnail, we've got Big Bill Goldberg in an obviously scripted promo that he was literally reading off probably cue cards.
Or it looked like he had like an iPad set up right here. It was just reading it off the iPad or something, some sort of tablet,
painting in the background of his arm, his tribal tattoo on his arm with a little gauge. I don't know if it was a painting or a photo.
Yeah, I don't know. Because you can get photos printed on canvas,
You could do that. Yeah,
you can do that
now. And, he's holding a little gauge, little baby gauge on his arm, and he's tiny. He threatened to kill Bobby Lashley. This is the most Goldberg promo thing. I promise. This is asinine. I promised to do everything I could to protect my son from people. Why would you? He got speared already. Why would you bring him to? No, he didn't get speared. He got attacked though by MVP and Lashley. Why would you bring him to SummerSlam? And then your kid jumped the barricade, man. Why aren't you talking to Gage? We have all seen the fan cams, the fan videos of what happens back in the Attitude Era when somebody jumps the barricade and gets in there with Stone Cold and Triple H. They start beating the crap out of him. When somebody jumped the barricade, when the NWO formed, Scott Hall started stomping his head. Hogan froze. You know what happens.
Yep.
When your dummy kid jumps the barricade, man, don't put that on Lashley.
Nah, Bill, you got to talk to your kid about that.
Yeah. Look, man, you want another match because you look like an asshole at SummerSlam? Sure. Request the match. Bill's going to win this, too.
1,000%.
That's a bummer. That's a bummer.
I know it is a bummer.
That is such a bummer.
It's a massive bummer.
Lashley has to sell for this. Well, Lashley's 45. But he has to sell for this dude who can, barely wrestle a 3-minute match.
I know.
That's terrible.
I know. It's going to be disappointing. But, sometimes it seems like the Saudi Arabia shows, I'm assuming it could have happened at Crown Royal, kind of exist outside of canon to a degree. Yeah, I know title changes happen there. Goldberg beat The Fiend there, and that was a bummer.
Fiend beat Seth there, yeah.
Yeah, so, I don't know. This, since the title's not involved, I guess you can just kind of look past it, or try to.
They can, Crown Royal is the kind of show where they can take it out of canon, like the Greatest Royal Rumble. I guarantee you, come Rumble season, the longest participant to be in a Rumble is no longer going to be Daniel Bryan. because that record was set at the greatest Royal Rumble, not a proper Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's possible. It's
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive right into this.
Sure.
The show kicked off with Bobby Lashley versus Big E. This is just a really, again, just two dudes beating the living crap out of each other inside and outside the ring. Lashley's really taking it to Big E. Both men barely beat the count after a double clothesline on the outside. Big E goes for a big ending. Lashley grabs the rope, gets to the apron, spears Lashley, and then they're just sitting there right at the feet of the returning to Hurt Business, Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander. You weren't huge on how this was presented.
I just didn't
right?
think it was that dramatic. Obviously, there was no build to it. It'd been cool if there had been some build, some intrigue as to whether something's gonna come back together. Because it makes sense. Lashley, he's outmanned by the New Day. You bring Hurt Business back in to even up the numbers. It makes all the sense in the world. It's just one of those things that it just happens. To me, it feels like another instance where the fans really like Hurt Business. They probably shouldn't have broken up to begin with in the first place, and how that was handled wasn't that great. And so they're getting by on, fans, we really like the Hurt Business. We're happy to see them back together. But if you think about it, I don't know. Just for me, it didn't feel that dramatic. Like, I know it's a bit of a wrestling trope if they had come out and you set this up for a couple weeks, kind of have a stare down with Lashley. Ultimately, they kind of have a nod and help him out. At least there's some drama there about what's going to happen. When they're just standing there over Big E with the shirts on, I don't know. This kind of felt a tad underwhelming to me. Love the Hurt Business. Happy they're back together. Just in terms of the reunion, didn't feel like as dramatic as it could have been.
All right, man. Stop being part of the problem. Be part of the solution. Fantasy book. How we would have done it on We Book Raw.
Well, I mean, they wouldn't have broke up in the first place, first of all.
Let's say we did break them up. We're putting them back together. How would we do it? We Book Raw was our goofy WWE 2K series.
Arguably the best thing we ever did.
I don't even know there's an argument there besides fun and WCW.
You caught me on the spot here.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, I'll help you. We'll collaborate then. Something with like zip lines. Like, how about this? Big E, he's taking down Lashley, right? And then he gets up on the corner. He's showboating a little bit, and then like dueling zip lines on either side. They both come down on the zip line, and they detach right as they're there, and they just like sandwich Big E, and then they stick the landing, and everybody's like, "Holy crap, that was a really dangerous maneuver."
I mean, it was dangerous, and it's very Triple Mania, but I mean, the mechanics in the game don't exist for us to be able to do that. So I was thinking within the confines of what we could do when we book Raw.
I just took it to real life. I hope they have zip lines in 2K22. No, how about this? This is even better. This is how you do it in real life. They do the zip lines, but one guy's screaming down, and the other guy's skirt.
There you go.
Cedric can't get this
to
work
lubricate
right.
the casters on the zip lines.
Yeah, and it's a disaster.
It's a disaster, absolute disaster. So anyways, Hurt Business apparently back together. So Big E puts Lashley back in the ring, walks right into a spine buster. Lashley hits the spear, and then the New Day come out to brawl with the Hurt Business. Eventually, Kofi and Cedric, I believe, they tumble into the ring to break up the pin of Lashley covering Big E. Ref calls for the DQ. Brawl breaks out. It's absolute mayhem. Ringside, Adam Pearce comes out, tells him to stop, says, tonight, main event, Big E, Lashley, steel cage.
Oh, that's good. Fear and Loathing says they both V-trigger him off the zip line.
Oh, how about that?
They come down, and it's the HB trigger.
There you go.
Hey, look at that.
There you go.
We got it. See, we have a problem. We come up with solutions here going in Raw. So did you mention the thing about Pierce and the steel cage stuff?
Yes.
Okay. After that, we had Erik from Viking Raiders.
Viking Raiders, yes.
And from Humberto's Garza, we had... That still trips me out that both their names is Humberto Garza. Mm-hmm. Angel Garza. And we got a little Karrion Garza promo. Said, isn't it crazy that both of our names is actually Humberto Garza? We're both very good looking, and we're both going to do a lot of good things here in the tag division. And then Garza won clean with a wing clipper after he sort of caught Erik sleeping talking to the ref.
Well, it's because Karrion got up on the apron to distract Erik. He's going to throw the tearaway pants at him, but stop after Erik stared at him. there's a bit of a distraction.
There's some good suggestions. White Brownie says the divorce rate boys. How about this? They're both home wreckers. They go to like women, and they try to break up families.
Oh my
They like break up a family, and then they just leave the ladies.
Wow.
That's terrible. That's a rudo move, though, right? You want to be a heel?
Yeah.
Go around. They film little vignettes where it's like, I've been romancing this married woman on Tinder, and we had a date. I sent a video of it to her husband.
Oh, goodness.
Wow. Humberto's Garza, what is your problem?
That would be oof.
Yeah,
After that,
oof
we had Reggie versus Ricochet. This is the 24/7 title bout. Of course, this has to take place in the ring. So even though the 24/7 division is sitting behind the barricade, ringside, like they bought tickets, they're sitting there. So you got Drake Maverick, Gulak, Truth, and so they're watching. So this match was pretty quick. Ricochet sends Reggie out of the ring, follows with a tope. 24/7 division hops the barricade and attack him. So Ricochet eventually takes out Truth and Gulak with a moonsault off the apron. So Reggie's taking his leave, and then Drake has a walkie-talkie, starts shouting into it. Akira Tozawa runs down, and then Reggie eventually takes him out and just leaves.
Yeah. I could do without all this stuff, but they're getting TV time. They're getting TV time, Larson. They're getting TV time.
Yeah, they are getting TV time, and while I could do without it, none of it really overstays its welcome, at least.
That is true as well.
Short.
It's all pretty quick stuff, and there was some fun stuff between Ricochet and Reggie. It was short, but like they were doing some cool stuff. It seemed like Ricochet was a bit above that stuff. He's like, look, I'm holding it down on main event. I'm the main event of main event, so I'm fine doing this stuff with Reggie. After that, we had a Riddle interview. Not sure exactly where Randy is, but he kind of figures he's probably at home watching, eating munchies, and watching his bro Riddle about to take on AJ Styles. He starts jamming out on his earphones. Moss and AJ roll up to him, and then the camera just keeps on rolling as they're just staring at each other unnaturally, the way nobody would ever do in real life at all.
Yep, totally. Then we get Akira Tozawa promo. We're back in the ring. He says he wants a match tonight against Truth, Gulak, Drake Maverick. He doesn't care who it is. He ends up getting a match against Keith Bearcat Lee. And that match predictably did not last very long. Maybe 30 seconds.
Bearcat destroyed. So this is the first time we've seen on TV Keith Bearcat Lee under the new sort of soft rebrand. He's got a nickname in homage to Bearcat Wright, the first African-American World Wrestling Champion, which I think is great. I do think so. In your opinion, you want it to be Bearcat Keith Lee. I want them to get rid of Keith and just Bearcat Lee.
Either is good in my mind. We have the nickname in the middle of his name. It's harder to say as opposed to the two alternatives that we've suggested. Yes.
Yeah. At a certain point, you think you're just going to call him Bearcat?
It's entirely possible.
Which is cool. That's a cool name. It's like whatever. He's got basketball shorts with Bearcat on it, and then of course the singlet top. But the bottom line is this dude is wrecking.
Yeah, he wrecked. Destroyed
people
him.
Now.
Destroyed
and
him.
It's great. He had a pretty good also .com interview after the fact where he sort of acknowledged the change in attitude.
Oh,
Keith Bearcat Lee. What's with this change in attitude? And he just said, what did he say? Something like, oh, people who thought they knew me don't really know me. Yeah. He was wearing a Mia Yim shirt, though. That was cool. She needs to get on TV, man. Anyways, after that, we had Damian Priest versus Sheamus. They both had quick promos before the match, sort of in picture-in-picture type thing. Basically said the same thing. Priest says, no count out, no DQ. I'm going to pin Sheamus in front of the world. Sheamus has one too. Talks about that match being up that kind of match being up his alley. And oh boy, that bit where Sheamus put Priest through a table with white noise, that looked rough. I think it was from the apron to the floor. Holy
Priest
crap.
back too.
Yeah, both these dudes look beat to hell. Of course, Sheamus welts. Somebody could poke him. He'd welt up at the finger poke of doom. But man, we're talking kendo sticks, tables, chairs. I mean, clearly this should have been an Extreme Rules match, but whatever. I'm not going to complain about it.
I mean, it was, in every way except by name,
Priest goes, the finish saw Priest go for a reckoning. Sheamus counters that, tries to send him into the table that's set up in the corner. Priest counters, sends Sheamus into the table, gets him up for a reckoning for 3. Killer match. Really can't recommend it enough.
It was a lot of fun. After that, we get Mustafa Ali and Mansoor backstage. And Ali goes to Mansoor, is like, what were you thinking getting us in a 6-man tag match with Jeff Hardy as our partner? And Mansoor's like, aren't you excited that we get to be tag partners with Jeff Hardy? You know, it's like, he explains his reasoning why. It's like, hey, we could lose tonight and then we can get split up in the draft, or we could win, show that we belong to be a team together and stay on Raw or SmackDown. And Jeff Hardy, with his experience, could help us with that. And then Ali says, well, if I saw Jeff Hardy, you know what I'd tell him? And just then Jeff Hardy steps in and goes, what'd you say? And Ali says, oh, Mansoor, I want to tell you that it's an honor being on a tag team with you. And then Hardy says, Jinder and his friends, or he says Jinder and Veer and Shanky are some big scary bastards, but I face scarier. I can't. And it's like his demeanor changes. Can't wait to tag with you guys tonight. Also can't wait to twist their fates. Let's go.
Yeah, it turns into raw shit. Yeah, it was pretty funny. I love all these guys together. Yeah, they really. It'd be a very WWE thing to split up Ali and Mansoor. They really need to start getting on the same. They need to, again, advance story to get them on the same page. At least this was a chapter where Mansoor is saying, hey, one of the greatest tag team champions of all time knows how to be on the same page. Granted, it's with his brother, but he knows how to be on the same page. Let's bring him in and maybe he can teach us a little bit of something. Did not work. Veer's pretty cool, huh?
Veer is an explosive athlete. He is fast. He is super athletic, and like when he jumps, it's like in the span of like half a second, he's 4 feet in the air. Mm-hmm. He's quick on his feet. You know, his movements are sudden. He's a lot of fun to watch. I hope they give him more of a spotlight because he is a lot of fun.
They seem to be doing that, right? Like in matches where you think, oh, Jinder's going to pick up this win, they seem to be focusing on Veer. And I love it. I think it's absolutely awesome. And I love that Corey Graves made the baseball reference.
Yeah. The $1 million arm
night.
reference. Yeah.
That was, I'm sure they've done it before, but that was the first time I noticed it anyways.
Yeah. When he hit that huge lariat to get the win.
Yeah. That was really cool. I love that, man. You know, you're adding a little bit of his actual backstory in there. Mm-hmm. That's cool stuff. Veer, definitely a guy to keep an eye out for.
Yeah. He ended up hitting a shoulder tackle followed by a massive lariat. The $1 million arm, as Corey Graves said. I can't talk today. On Ali to get the win. Oh, gosh. And then after that, we got a Karrion Kross promo. I got to get up and get ready to say a bunch of, what is it they call $10 college words? Because this promo is just peppered with a bunch of fancy-sounding verbiage to make them, I don't know, sound something. I don't know what the intent of this is. So he says, I've never felt more rejuvenated or more alive than now because I've only just begun to taste the vindication of a racing soul. Sure, some of your favorite superstars have left the ring with torn ligaments and broken spirits, but that's nothing more than a preliminary trial. No one truly knows where they'll end up, but I know it all leads to the agony he causes in the end. They will all fall and pray.
Man, good job. I actually heard it a little bit different here in my notes. It says, no one knows where they will end up after this, but if you want to know, find out on WWE's Main Event exclusively on Hulu. Because that's where that fool's ending up. Yes. This promo was also about 5 times the length in time as this match itself, which was shockingly short. Kross versus Jaxson Ryker. Kross puts Jaxson Ryker in a really lackluster cross jacket. Ryker ends up. Did he tap out or pass out?
He tapped. I think he tapped.
He tapped. All right.
I think he tapped.
Dud of a match.
Yeah, it was dud. Like the cross jacket itself was awkwardly placed on. It didn't look like it was synced in whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And commentary did the best they could covering for that. So at least that happened. So anyways, next Doudrop walks into Adam Pearce, Sonya Deville's office. She wants to answer the open challenge tonight against Charlotte. She's receptive to the idea. Says it's not like you don't deserve to have this match, unlike Naomi, who doesn't deserve to be on the SmackDown roster.
Wow. Hey, you know what? I love that they're referencing that, though. You know, it's on Sonya's mind. She's stewing about it.
Yeah. She says, but you've beaten Eva Marie twice. Charlotte won't see it coming. But hey, if you win, can you do that little dance you do after you win the title?
And then she started doing the cheesy dance, which Vince probably loves.
Yes.
Oh, sports entertainment.
Yeah.
After that, we had Riddle versus AJ Styles.
Oh, there's a Lashley promo.
Oh, I did not see this.
Oh, okay. So he talks about how Big E calling himself champ makes him sick. He again says that Big E cashed on him after a grueling match when he was hurt. He says, I'm not hurt tonight, and I'm happy it's a cage match. And after I win, I'm going to walk out the rightful WWE champion.
All right. Was the match then Riddle versus AJ Styles?
You didn't miss anything.
All right. Nice. Yeah, man. Good Lord. This is just absolutely stellar stuff. The finish saw Riddle started to Orton out. Started doing the thing where he's pounding the ground and stuff. And I think he was going for an RKO on AJ Styles, but AJ caught him and then hit like the nastiest burning hammer I've seen in a very long time.
I always pop for a burning hammer. I mean, Trent Seven does it, but
he dropped this fool. Like it's funny because it's AJ Styles, so you know the guy is totally safe, right? And you can even see how he cradles his head, but he does it in such a last moment maneuver that I'm sure it's safe, but good Lord, it looked brutal.
So when Trent Seven does it, it's, you know, the what you typically associate. Well, actually, the nastiest burning hammer. Remember when Brian Kendrick did it to Kota Ibushi in the Cruiserweight Classic? That was nasty.
Yeah.
That was nasty.
Yeah.
When AJ does it, it's almost like a combination shell shock burning hammer type thing.
Yeah.
Because he kind of cradles them, you know, instead of dropping them so they land flat on their stomach. You know, there's more of a cradle to it. So I don't know, I'd hope that would make it. I'd assume it'd make it safer. Whatever. But yeah, the snap on it is the torque he puts on it is something else. And then from that right into a Styles Clash. That was great.
Oh, right into just dead weight up into a Styles Clash. That was awesome. Yeah. So he gets the win there. Then after the match, Amos comes in, just gives Riddle the nastiest choke slam. It was great. After that, we had an attempt at a Shayna Baszler interview. Asked how she felt hurting Nia Jax, and she just sort of stews on it. No sells the question. What was going through your mind when you hurt Nia Jax? And then she just walks off. It was good stuff.
It was great.
Yeah.
Really good stuff. After that, we had Charlotte Flair versus Doudrop. This match was pretty short. Doudrop hits the senton. She's setting up for the fun splash. Eva Marie comes in the ring. Comes down the ramp, distracts Doudrop. So Charlotte hits Doudrop with a boot from behind, falls with natural selection to get the win. So Charlotte's still on the ring celebrating her win. Eva Marie gets in there, starts talking crap to Doudrop, and Charlotte's in the background being like, I just won my match. Get out of here. And so Eva Marie turns around, eats a clothesline from Charlotte, and Charlotte leaves. But there'll be more to that. But first, we get a Goldberg promo.
This was, the Doudrop stuff was really good, man. They kept her looking really strong. We had a Goldberg in his nice living room, a painting or just photo on canvas of Goldberg's arm with tribal tattoo holding, I mean, everybody is kind of pay. I got one with me kissing Bama's weird little baby face. It's so goofy. It's in black and white. Look, a lady came in with a camera. It was like, hey, I'm here to take pictures if you want to take pictures. I was like, yeah, I guess people do that, huh? And so, you do, okay, now hold the baby like this and then kiss its creepy little face. And I got all those weird pictures, man.
All right.
So I just don't have them up, the 18 or 24 by 36 on my living room wall. So anyways, Goldberg talks shit, says Bobby's being a liar because he claimed that he didn't know it was Gage when he jumped the barricade and hopped into the match. He says, when Gage was born, I promised him I would try to protect him. Well, you're doing a lousy job, Goldberg. He says he's gonna hurt Bobby really bad, but if he's lucky, he'll kill him, and he's gonna enjoy every single second of it. This is this is ugly stuff here, man. This is supposed to be a competitive sport.
I know, and Goldberg's supposed to be the face here, in theory.
He's supposed to be, yeah, but he's talking about murder. It's horrible.
It is horrible.
Awful.
It is horrible.
It's awful.
It is horrible. So we go back to the ring. Eva Marie's still there. She was saying, if I had that opportunity against Charlotte, I would have won. She's tired of being disrespected by the fans, and she could beat anybody in the locker room. She's about to leave. Shayna walks out, chokes Eva Marie out in the ring, pulls her to the apron, starts working over her arm, and then stomps her arm against the ring steps.
Oh, man. Yeah, and crowds chanting one more time. But by that point, people are out there, tending to Eva Marie. But yeah, that was really good stuff.
It was great.
You think Shayna might be moving on to a different brand?
I mean, I suppose it's possible. I don't know. I mean,
they're going to flip Shayna and Bianca.
We've seen Becky versus Shayna before.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Honestly, don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was a WrestleMania, maybe. I don't know. After that, we had an interview with Nikki Cross and Rhea Ripley. They ask, how have you guys found success? And it's the same thing we've heard over and over again. Rhea says sometimes opposites attract. They're not worried about the draft because we got the tag title, so we can go wherever we want. And Nikki talks about getting matching outfits, and Rhea's like, blue looks good on you. And then awkwardly walks away. After that, we had the main event, Big E versus Bobby Lashley in a steel cage. But it took a little bit of time to get into the steel cage because as Big E was trying to get in, Bobby Lashley said, no.
Boots him out. Boots him out. Yes, boots him out and just starts wrecking him ringside, throws him the ring steps. Man. We go to commercial, we come back. Match is starting. Lashley runs right into a Uranagi from Big E. Kicks out at one, though. A lot of fun. I like that they had bits of the match where something happened, and then later on they referenced, including the finish, where earlier in the match, Big E tries to go for a big ending off the second rope, and Lashley reverses that into a dragon sleeper, and basically Big E passes out and just tumbles to the mat. It was great.
I do appreciate that this is one of those matches where if Lashley just had a bit more of a sense of urgency, he'd have had this thing won. Yeah. Because there was the moment where, he could have walked out several times if he was just like, oh, I got to get out of this cage and then I'll win the match. But, part of Lashley has proven the point that he is dominant. And so he should be able to beat a guy so bad that is it really a win if you don't beat him so bad that you can just stroll out while you're showboating? That's the point of Bobby Lashley. Yes. It's not just to win.
It's to dominate.
It's to dominate.
Exactly. So towards the end, Big E is trying to climb out of the cage. Hurt Business comes down to ringside. Cedric and Shelton, they climb up. They keep Big E from escaping. And so Lashley's trying to escape through the door while this is going on. And then Woods runs in and, like in one fluid move, runs in, slams the door on Lashley's head, goes around the corner. Cedric leaps off. He super kicks Cedric in midair. And then Kofi runs in from the ramp, leaps up the cage, and then climbs to the top. He and Shelton brawl up there. Woods yanks Shelton off the cage, and then Kofi hits a trust fall off the cage onto Cedric and Shelton. And all that happens in like 25 seconds. It was so fast, so fluid. It was
fast.
Awesome. And
the crowd was eating this up,
and, of course, Raw rolls on. So you come back from commercial. Big E hits a trio of belly-to-bellies, looking for a splash. Instead, he runs into a spear, but he kicks at it, too. Lashley is trying to escape. I love this moment. So Lashley's trying to escape through the door, but every time he boot Big E, turns to go to the door, Big E gets back up. So he keeps stomping on him and yelling at him to stay down. And the Big E,
he just keeps on, like he's down and he just grabs him.
It's great.
It's great. Like last little desperate grasp.
It's great. And then Big E hits him with a big ending out of nowhere. Lashley kicks out.
Yeah.
So Lashley hits the spine buster again, tries to climb out of the cage. Big E gets up, and then he hits some shots to Lashley's back. Lashley responds with a couple shots of his own, and then Big E just starts hitting elbows to Lashley's midsection, like a dozen of them, and then hits the big ending off the second rope to get the win. They raise the cage. Big E's celebrating. Drew comes out to the stage, points his sword.
Yeah, and Big E, he's just like, come on, bring it on. And yeah, boy, that was really good stuff, man. That was really good stuff. Let's go ahead and answer some questions. Of course, I've got a thread right here. If you can't make the live show, you could always ask a question of us on the Patreon at patreon.com/Stephen Larson. Also, got a couple new friendos here on the Patreon. John Duarte, Trapp, and Philip Eno. Thank you very much.
Thank you
for your support. If you pledge at $20, you get the Friendo Care Package, including a comic book featuring Stephen Larson. It's the Going In Raw, the comic book. A bunch of crazy adventures, zany adventures featuring two of your hopefully favorite wrestling podcasters. Let's see here. Hopefully, kicking us off.
Go ahead.
Wolfpack Prince says, does Karrion Kross believe anything that he says in his promos? He seems so checked out, according to Wolfpack.
No, he doesn't believe anything he says. He's probably just handed this script like 10 minutes before he's supposed to do it.
He's like, how am I supposed to make anybody fall and prey on WWE main event? I can't. Nobody watches that. So what? It's on what? What is Hulu?
You can write all these fancy words into this promo, but at the end of the day, no one watches main event.
Here we go. White Brownie. It's got Raw's rating. Oh, hour 1, 1.8. Hour 2, 1.7. Hour 3, 1.5.
Okay. All right.
Monday Night Football is a hell of a thing.
It wasn't much of a game. The Eagles got destroyed.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it wasn't much of a game. Crossface Chicken Stain. Does Lashley have to stay on Raw to feud with Goldberg?
No, Goldberg exists outside of the entire spectrum of the WWE universe. Maggie asks, can Scarlett and the revival of his NXT gimmick save Kross? Or is it too late?
You know, I would have thought if they were going to bring Scarlett in, they would have done it by now.
Something's got to be, and I'm not trying to pry, but you would think there has got to be some sort of personal issue, illness, or injury, perhaps, keeping her out. I refuse to believe that they're keeping her out for creative reasons. There's got to be something else going on that's precluding her from being on TV. Yeah. That's my own personal speculation. Not saying what it is, or that I know. I'm just saying this can't be a creative option. If you have Scarlett, you put her on TV. But I personally don't think anybody, for the most part, is too far gone. I think that you can save Kross. It's just, you got to have a pad. What they're doing right now ain't going to work.
No, not at all. Not at all. Diehard Homer Larson, would the Hurt Business reforming work better if Lashley went on a losing streak without MVP and he went back to the two of them for help? I mean, I think they could have done something even kind of out of the blue last night. I just thought the way it was handled wasn't that dramatic. That's just my take. Steve disagrees. Everybody's going to have their own take on it. That's fine. Just
a zipline HB trigger.
There you go.
Would you have marked out for that?
That would have been completely unexpected.
Holy crap!
That would have been dramatic. So,
David Matushek, if Drew plans on going to SmackDown, would the draft compromise the plan of his challenge to Big E? Nope, because they just have the match on Raw.
Yeah. Yep. Dang MQ, if Hit Row gets drafted and feuds with the New Day or Hurt Business, do they separate B-Fab from the group, or do the other two groups bring in a woman to counter her like Legado did with Elektra Lopez? If so, who?
Let's see here. Well, if Hit Row, oh man, could you imagine Swerve stepping to Roman Reigns? How awesome would that be? And then you bring in Naomi.
Yeah, that makes all
into
sense
the
in the world.
bloodline, man. Do it. Do that.
Yeah.
New Day to counter B-Fab. What would New Day do? How about this? Oh shit! No, you can't. Never mind. I was gonna say, wouldn't it be cool if they recruited Naomi, and that became? But I mean, obviously they're in separate brands.
Yeah.
But man, if they weren't, how cool would it be if New Day recruited Naomi, and she had to deal with the consequences if she's also by family in the bloodline? Oh, that'd be kind of neat.
That'd be an interesting dynamic. Yes.
High drama there.
Gareth, should Mansoor and Ali stay on Raw or get drafted to SmackDown? Feels too early to split them up.
Please don't split. I hope they don't split them up.
They're a lot of fun together. Yeah.
A move to SmackDown would be cool.
Yeah, I think especially if the Street Profits end up getting broken up, SmackDown's going to need an infusion of talent in the tag division. That's for sure.
Yeah. Eddie Brock's Venom says, what do you think of getting more title matches on TV lately? We know they won't change hands a lot, but sometimes that's there's that house show moment when it does. I like having title matches on TV. I'm fine with it. Like last night, Priest versus Sheamus, I thought it was possible that Sheamus could have won that because draft is coming up and who knows what plans they have. I thought it was a possibility.
Totally. White Brownie, which NXT wrestler should definitely get drafted to main? Definitely. LA Knight. LA Knight should definitely get drafted to main.
Who should definitely get drafted to main? I would say Kushida. I think because that dude has paid his dues, he's put so much time in, he's a legend. For my answer would be Kushida.
Yeah.
But yeah, LA Knight is made for main roster. He's such a main roster talent.
Jorge D here says Io Shirai. That's a great answer as well.
Man. There's honestly like several people on NXT who need to be on main roster. Let's see here. Filipino, we talked about this a little bit on yesterday's show, but he says, where do you feel Baszler goes from here? I would love to see, here's a little preview for you for our exclusive bonus episode today. Baszler going to Raw, feuding with AJ Styles. I would love to see that shit. I think that'd be great. Where do you think, where would you like to see Baszler go from here? What would be next for him, for you, if you had the book?
Keep him on SmackDown, I guess. I mean, keep him on SmackDown just for no other reason. We get some explanation of if there's any sort of story involved and why the turnbuckle broke at Extreme Rules. I know the odds are we'll get no story, no explanation beyond it. Things happen.
Are they going to make it a whodunit?
Maybe.
It's possible, right? How about this? I don't even know if this is related to the question at all.
Sorry, this is it. Sheamus gets sent to SmackDown, and Baszler saw what he was doing on that same turnbuckle earlier in the show with the dancing and stuff, blames him for the turnbuckle falling apart. They feud.
Acting a fool up there. Cost me my title.
That's your answer.
The demon fell and looked like an asshole, and he checked out, and I had no more demon power. And it's your fault. Sheamus is like, wait, what? How about this? Burr Winning here just says British Strong Style, which is great. Bring British Strong Style to main roster, but put him with Finn Balor. How cool would that be? You got Finn as your main title guy, Pete Dunne's your mid-card title guy, and then you get the tag team.
That's great. That's great.
Great.
Die Hard Homer, the turnbuckle breaking will be like the briefcase being raised on Austin at King of the Ring 99. Unsolved mystery. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Who was raising that damn briefcase? The Enforcer says that Goldberg promo with the shoot baby getting flexed on in the background was distracting as fuck. What wrestler baby would you have Goldberg flex on in that photo to have it less distracting? The wording here is great.
Oh, God.
What wrestler baby would you have Goldberg flex on in that photo to have it less? It's a baby. There's nothing less distracting.
You could use the fake one that Snitsky kicked.
That's good.
It's not a real baby, so
it
might make it more or less distracting. I don't know.
It's a baby. Like there's no baby, no replacement baby is going to be less distracting.
Yeah,
Gage just looked like generic baby, which is as less distracting as you're
going
to get.
If it's a doll back there, it could either be less distracting because it's not a baby, but it could also be more than like, why is Goldberg holding a doll in the picture?
Dude,
like that?
It's way more distracting. It's like that scene in American Sniper when what's his face, Bradley Cooper. You gotta Google this video. I've never seen the movie.
Yeah,
I just heard that. So like, there's two babies scheduled to be Bradley Cooper's.
Yeah. I remember hearing about this. Yeah,
and they both weren't able to make it, and so Clint was like, "Do we have a doll?" And so they got a baby doll, and it's just clear as day that Bradley Cooper is holding a fake baby. And it's outrageously hilarious. It's so distracting.
Yeah. Jimmy Thomas says, I hope LA Knight doesn't go to Raw. He would end up in the 24/7 division. That's entirely possible.
Nah, I don't think there's no, who's in the 24 division now? It's like from last night.
Gulak,
Drake Maverick,
Tozawa, Truth.
Gulak, Tozawa, Truth.
It's kind of it.
Is that all it is now? Sitting there at ringside.
Those are the main players right now, yeah.
I'm just glad Karrion got out of there, and I'm glad Jeff Hardy got out of there.
Yeah, Yeah. Floppy says, any NXT UK draft picks? If anyone, I would say Walter if he would want to, and or Mustache Mountain or Gallus. Oh, imagine Gallus on main roster.
It should be Gallus, man. Oh, it should be Gallus. Moses opposes. This is a great question. Which tag team would be the most damaged by being split in the draft? Like, realistically, what tag team could
Viking
get
Raiders.
split? Like, I was literally about to say Viking Raiders. You're 1,000% correct. They're themed. They're so themed.
And they're both good wrestlers, but I don't know if they're so known as the unit. I don't know if as unique personalities as separate wrestlers, like what their ceiling would be. They're both really good. I'm just saying within WWE, you know.
They should WWE should have no problem rebranding both guys to Wild Success. But they don't know how to do that. No. They would one guy would still be Viking Raider.
Yeah.
And it would be a cartoon-ish gimmick. He would lose matches a lot. And then the other guy would have I
feel like Erik would still be Viking, and then Ivar, they go back to calling him Hansen, which is his actual name, or at least was his name. And they'd have a new thing for him.
In my mind, it was the opposite.
It'd probably be a comedy gimmick because he does the cartwheels. So I'm guessing they'd probably give him some sort of comedy gimmick.
Oh, yeah, like a gym teacher, like
something,
a
so
ballet teacher.
He's got the sweatband. No, like an 80s gym teacher, so he's got the sweatband. You know,
they could license Let's Get Physical.
Exactly.
Let's see here. The backseat booker. Do you think there could ever be a faction like the Four Horsemen that would or should hold all the titles on a brand? If so, who? He said the Bloodline, if they brought in Naomi, they would also need an intercontinental contender. We had something like MVP was chasing that U.S. title before Bobby Lashley was WWE champion. If WWE did factions, which they should do,
they should do a lot more.
They really should do factions.
A lot more factions, yeah. But
they should. Anyways, we're going to stick around here on Twitch for a little while and answer some more questions. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.